The reality is all Southern Chinese Kung Fu arts all have a little similarity. You know, I don't care whether you try to fight praying mantis, you know, Bat Gua Sing Yi, Long Fist, they all have a little Tong Bei, or they all have a little similarity. And, you know, kind of some of the teachers, they take that similarity and then they're basically saying what styles copying us, what styles duplicate us. But nobody really knows exactly. Truly, the answer is no one really understand, you know, like, are you there back in the days? I'm not. Either do you, right? And you're talking about the master that created a system that copy whatever. And everyone is kind of taking each other's idea. And everybody's pretending they are the original creator. But the reality is, Bak Mei style is a little bit more towards like a street fighting than majority of other Southern Chinese Kung Fu. That's a fact. So if you're talking about the movement, the structure of the sets or whatever have similarity for any other style, I can't really debate that, and nobody can really claim who is the original. This is just my honest opinion, because, you know, can anyone prove it? No. And most Chinese martial art, some Southern Chinese Kung Fu, are never written down, documented. It's all society rumors. And no one can ever prove, no one can ever written down, have like obviously like a proof that this is how he created. This is all pretty much all legend, all stories. You know, like I tell people all the time, like it's a very simple question of Sam Guok Yin Yi, the General Quan, right? According to the history, there's all sorts of kind of bold kind of stuff and glorify the General Quan. But the reality is, like, can anybody actually identify the truth? Nobody can do. You know, so remember, in the old days, yes, every dynasty, they pass them on to the next dynasty. They have a special writer that written down the past on dynasty, what the history, what the army general, emperor's name, and then write it down. But they're also a proof of history studying. Some dynasty emperors actually make their own history to write it down certain way. I conquer this, I conquer that. So like, you can't really be 100% sure. As people talk about nowadays, CNN News is not 100% accurate. Same as the history too, especially in the martial art, that not having anyone like a formally written down anything concrete. So you can't really, you know, you can't really say that. All I can confirm from practice martial art for all this year, growing up in a city that's, you know, martial art capital city of Southern China, growing up as, you know, Kung Fu practitioner's master son, and what I've seen, and everyone have their own mindset. And everyone think this is how things should run, this is how the style should run, this is how the Bak Mei handset should be, this is how you should train. And literally every teacher that I'm knowing as growing up, they have their own mindset, and they all have their own different idea. You know, so, and if I ask them, hey, Uncle Chang, is that true? Oh, no. I said, so why do you guys say that? Oh, this is what I think, this is what I believe. And that's how it is, you know. But unfortunately, like, when you're growing up in the source, this is what I hear, this is what I see. But people from the outsider, they have so much mystery. Just like how Bruce Lee died, a lot of Guaylo, a lot of foreigners, oh no, he got assassinated by triads. No, he's not. He died in the lady's bed, in the lady's apartment. He's either some kind of complication, or either some kind of overdose, either some kind of medication issues, and then he died. As simple as that, you know. But people complicate it and make it seem like some type of assassin. And then his son dies as some kind of triad curse. Assassin is dead, now assassin his son. I think it's a bull of crap. It just happens that way, and then people just blame on it, you know. So to answer the question about the Bak Mei, whoever Hakka, whoever it is, anybody out there talk about your ancestor, think the Bak Mei Doyan created a system, copying your style, this and that, Anybody can prove it? No. So don't even listen about it. Don't even talk about it. What we have right now, the Bak Mei system, floating around, the handset we're floating around, the teacher are still teaching, publicly represent the system. This is that's what we have. This is what we have left. And this is what we have go by. And this is it. And that's it. Was earlier, let me see, where did I go? Yeah, this book has way too much going on here. I mean, I have this book 30, 40 years now. My dad gave it to me when I came here, 96. And it's, I read every little once in a while, and it's a lot. And then sometimes I just read a small little section, and I'm trying to kind of understand a little bit. This is the dragon style. So this is one of the books. I actually kind of go over some of this with Jamil too, another senior student. I kind of go over this with him. So if you're looking at this book, this book's written down. This is the Bak Mei Kung Fu Zhong Luo. Basically not called the secrets, basically the major principle of the Bak Mei system, right? And this book is basically contains almost 40 forms, handset names on this book. And obviously a lot of Bak Mei practitioners now actually like original hand form that only like maybe I would say maybe 7 or 8 hand form that is like documented, that everyone knows what that is and everybody practices the form. And then a lot of other forms people just heard of the name but they never really seen it. So some of the older seniors, the teachers that in inland China, they take advantage of that. So they basically take the name, let's say called Xin Lui San Fa, right? An angel throwing flowers down. And they use the name and they just create a form. And everyone say that's the only form that no one ever learned from so-and-so master, whoever they come from. And everybody start doing that. So, and you're looking at the history of the Bak Mei, the documented handset is like really everybody knows. You have Subji, one of the most well known, and you have you got Fu Bo, you have Sapat Mo Kiu, you have Diu Zheng, you have Sapat Feng Zhang, Gao Bo Toi. Those are the forms that well known in many tournaments and many kung fu gathering that people actually demonstration. And then of course generation pass on, one teacher pass to another, and people start adding on stuff. That's why when people say, let's practice, let's do a sub-G. And I remember like probably 10, 15 years some ago, I remember there's a Bak Mei gathering, Bak Mei style practitioner gathering. And it's like almost 10 or 15 people did a sub-G. And none of them are the same. None of them. So, and everybody's like, oh, mine's original, yours original. Technically, I can't really pinpoint who's original, right? You talk about fighting, most teachers that back home in China, they don't really emphasize on fighting. They just emphasize on how to move and how to practice your handset and how crispy, how sharp, how's your impression, the energy of the movement supposed to be explosive, fast, and then they take that principle into many different movements. So you can't really pinpoint who's original. Everybody can say they're original. You go to Hong Kong, they say Zhong Luo is source is original. Hey, but again, who the is monitor Zhong Luo? He brought the art to Hong Kong. He does whatever the he want. He take a few sets in China. Anybody that monitor him, like if this conversation pops up, people's gonna be, oh, how can you criticize my Qigong? How do you criticize my Sijo? Well, then don't criticize. Everybody is original. And if you want to get together and get some students and they similar size and then you fight, and who's better? You know, you don't want to get a guy's 250 pounds, 6'5" against a 5'7". Let's pick somebody similar size, similar time they practice, and fight. That's as simple as that. But the reality is they don't. Most kung fu masters, they talk. Talk is fighting. You do this move, I'm gonna do this move. You do that, I'm gonna do that. So they're verbal competition. There's just nobody point at any point. That's why I stay away from associate with all this kung fu gathering, all these kung fu practitioners, all these Bak Mei teachers. Like a lot of them, they just talk. So like if you're looking at this right here, so if you can see, people can read Chinese and you can see, this Bak Mei Kung, the Zhou and Ngo Mei San, All Mei Mountain, White Eyebrow Monk, the Bak Mei Doyan, and create a system they call the White Eyebrow and the basic philosophy, La Fu Wai Ying, based on a tiger movement, tiger shape, Xin Bo Hao Ma. Xin Bo Hao Ma is like you walking step turn into a horse stand, so and Loi Ngoi Hap Yat, it's internal, external, combined together. So like basically this book is going to contain, pages, and it has all these different handsets. And then the one part on the book they have like describe like how many handsets in this Bak Mei system that it exists, the name. But in the society, nobody really see that kind of handset. So it's more like, okay, you heard of that name, and then you just take that name, you create your own handset, and then that's how the society is in China. Like anybody can pinpoint where they learn from. They probably can name, but is that really learn from so and so? No. All you have to do is like, for me, how do I recognize another Bak Mei Pai practitioner? It's the way they move. I don't criticize exactly the movement, which move is right or wrong. On the Gaobo Toi, there's 4 or 5 different versions of the 9-step push. Okay, so you're missing a move. This move is there, this move is not there. You can't criticize that. But one thing I can criticize is like, that is about my styles. The way they snap, the way they explosives, the movement, and then the footwork, and that's how I criticize that is the same family or not. As far as like you can't really criticize the movement. Like is this handset like it's not like a Wing Chun, not like a Choi Li Fut that you have a first set, Sifu Tell all that, and Choi Li Fut you have that. Everybody knows what that move is, and maybe you can try to slightly do a little differently, but it's practically the same form. But if you're looking at Sub G, good luck you track down who's original. I've been practicing my Sub G since 5-6 years old. That's my first Bak Mei handset that I learned from my dad, and then later on I trained under my dad, and then I trained under Tan Seng Yu, which means everybody name him Sam Sok. He's also the one correct me a few things. And then I also work with a few different uncles, that also trained with Lao Bak, and they all slightly add a little different. So my Sub G as original as you can get. And then when I look at the people that are from Hong Kong, from New York, and then they do Sub G, they're very different. And then I'm like, okay, nothing bad. It's just different. So like first time I see the outsiders doing the Sub G, I believe like in the early 90s, and they have some Hong Kong source Bak Mei practitioner coming up to inland China, then in like a Kung Fu little association or something, a little social gathering, then everybody present a Sub G, and I do my Sub G, and everybody's like, oh, that's good, and I see a few other Sub G, I'm like, oh, that's a little different, You know, so like, okay, that's from the Hong Kong source, according to people say from Zhong Luo, and then, we from the Lao Sifu Luo and Fut San Bak Mei. It's a little different, but ultimately the style of movement are pretty similar. It's just the structure of the movement's a little different. So that's my 2 cents. So, and obviously like people start learning, those movements that I has probably like 10 plus forms, and then that's what all the original that I learned from years and years ago. And but there's a lot of new sets and with the different names, like on the book that I never seen it before. And then now people start popping up, you know. 18魔橋虎步雕像7點梅花三星 they have 十指三星 3 star.
Yeah.
So it literally like have so many names that I never even heard of it. But it's kind of cool, This book is created by one of the most senior Bak Mei practitioner. His name is Samsuk Chansen-yu. That's the book he wrote. And he's probably one of the most well-known Bak Mei practitioner. He's probably in his mid-80s now. He's a couple years younger than my dad. And I know he's suffering some health issues too, since my dad passed away last year, the end of the last year. And he's pretty much like the last only person in Fut San that is like well respected because, he's directly also learned from Lao Sifu Luo. I mean, not to discredit Lao Sifu Luo's son, but I think he was still pretty young when his dad was, close to the end of his life. And then I'm not really sure how much he actually directly learned from his dad. More likely he learned a lot from the senior student of his dad, which is my dad, and then Chan Sin Yu. Everybody named him Samsuk, so that's the truth. So, and of course, when you got the bloodline and, when everyone is gone, and you're always gonna say, I got a couple secrets that I learned from so and so, my dad, this and that, and no one ever knows, and who knows? You know what I mean? Nobody knows, right? But you have that bloodline, you have that advantage. So, but the reality is that what growing up, what I've seen, and people that I respect, I look up to, is a handful of people that represent the Bak Mei system, represent well, and my dad is definitely one of them. Not to mention like, what other people talk about. They represent Bak Mei. Like, what do you have done? What have you done for the system? Do you open a school? Do you teaching students? Do you teaching fighters? Like, a lot of teachers don't. My dad was the fighter. Our school was the shield, was the face of the system. Anybody who comes into the town and then whether you want to challenge, you want to talk shit, you want to get along, you want to get to meet, you go to my dad. We are the largest army, back home, before my dad was on his peak, so, but that's part of it. That's the reason, some of the reason why I don't associate too much with other Bak Mei teachers, because a lot of them, they just, kind of living off in the shadow. And then they poke their heads out whenever nobody's talking, and they claim, this and that. Like, you don't for the system. You're not the ambassador of the system. My dad is, So that's some of this. Wow, look at this right here. So this is some of the names, right? Bat Gua, Dai Bat Gua, Siu Bat Gua. You know what's Bat Gua, right?
Yeah, the 8 trigon.
Right. So that's the handset. That's some of the names. Dai Bat Gua, Siu Bat Gua, Si Ji Guan Kao, lion rolling the ball. 仙女散花, 18風箏, those 18風箏, those like a wheel form that people document. 大八卦, 小八卦, 花龍, flower dragon, 花虎, flower tiger, 花豹, flower leopard, 羅漢拳, the monk set, 羅漢掌, the monk palm, 羅漢指, the monk finger. Not this one, but probably. Luo Han Ji. Okay, Luo Han Zhong, the monk palm. Zhong Long, the right dragon. Zhong Long, Kun Long. They have Fan Qin Zhong, the rise before heat. Fan Hao Zhong, the rise after heat. See? Total of 40 plus handset. That's the original info.
That's crazy.
I think the book is basically showing how many handsets are out there, but the handset that well known, pass it on in publicly, a lot of people demonstration that I've seen when I growing up is the handful set. And then a lot of these names like Xin Lei San 5, I've seen it before. My dad practiced a few times. Actually, he taught some of our students. He taught Jamil, he taught TK, and then a couple of them. He taught the Xin Lei San 5, and I was watching it. You know, it's like a lot of Kailan Bow, a lot of twisting motion, you know, a lot of that. CG Guankou, it's like a lion rolling the ball, you know. So you have literally, like, this book is basically written down that few handset that everyone knows, right? So for example, sub G right here, just say sub G. This handset, it's obviously showcase of the basic specialist on the Bak Mei system. You know, how to use eye follows your hips, and hips creates footworks, and footwork creates power, that kind of stuff. So it's a basic philosophy of this. And I still have to learn how to read this book sometime because they're poems. They're like not like a normal words. And a lot of those words, and you read it, and you have to really learn how to understand it. It's like a very concentrated meaning, very like a poem style. So it's not like a normal people reading this. Or like sometimes it might not even make sense, you know. List the form, list the philosophy,
Principle, concepts.
the principle, you know, like for example, right here, Gao Bo Toi. This handset, the method is left and right. Let me just translate exactly the word, right? This is a left, this is right, this is the bottom, that's poke through, that's flower, that's left and right, face, poke through, flower, and san fa is like a evacuate, flower, palm, move, flower, inherited. Basically, you catch. This is the wood. This is hand. This is poke. This is flower. This is finger. So all these words, it's each word there means something. So when you put it all together, in one sentence, literally different translate can mean different things. You know, like if I read this sentence, oh, I think that this is what that means. If someone else read this sentence, he might think that's what that means. It might be two different meaning, because it depends how you digest those words.
It's like learning a set.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like one handset you do many different way to explain the application. You know, but some teacher explain this application is a little bit more like this, and that's how you defense. Some people, oh, this is how you defense, this is how you offense. So many different people read this book and read this philosophy, they might have a different interpretation. So this is 16 characters, right? So Lin Wan Chong Zhong. Lin Wan Chong Chong is like never throw just one punch. It's always like Lin Wan, it's like a non-stop. Chong Chong is like a heavy strike. Lin Wan Chong Chong is like a non-stop heavy strike, right? Jig Chut Wang Sao. Jig Chut Wang Sao. Jig is go straight. Chut is going out. Wang is cross. So it's bringing it back. Never bring your hand back the same way as it goes out. So you straight out, you come back with different angle. This goes out, and you come back with different angle. Never throw more than one punch. Never throw more than just one punch. Non-stop striking heavy. Never pull your hand back same direction. It goes out. Mao Tun Chun Dong. Contradict power. Contradict power is if you throw punching and if you grab somebody, don't focus the punch, focus pulling him back. So increase more strength, the power goes out. That's called contradict power. 攻防合一. It's like offense, defense combined together. Your defense is your offense. You don't want to train how to block. Your block is your strike. That's how it attacks, right? That's a 16 character. 6 power is basically first one straight, second one sucking, third one rising, fourth one sinking, fifth one spinning, the last one expanding. 6 power in the hand form. Now people always say, what does that mean? Well, what does that 6 power do? The 6 power you have to learn how to develop in your handset. So if you practice a sub-G, you learn all the move. Most practitioners like, okay, I learned a set now and I know the sub-G. No, you just know a tool. Sub-G, a hand form is like a tool. It's a set. A set allow you to develop the 8 spirit, 6 powers, and the 16 characters. All the basics. So once you learn the handset, now you start training the system. It's almost like if people learning boxing. You gotta learn how to jab, learn how to hook, learn how to cross, learn how to do uppercut. Once you get all the combo down, now you can start learning boxing. You're learning Bak Mei system. You learn the handset. Once the handset is done, now you start training the system. The system of a Bak Mei style martial art starting to appeal in your body. You use the handset to develop all. So people, many Bak Mei practitioners in China, many I'm talking about, their whole entire life practicing 10, 20 years of a Bak Mei, they only know 1 or 2 sets. Many of them. I've seen the guys that practice Bak Mei system for like 10 plus years around in those 2 or 3 sets. They just go over again. And every time they practice the set, they practice all the philosophy in the set. Sometimes you work on your sub-G nice and slow. Flow, just practice your muscle memory. Sometimes you explosive, boom, 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 go fast and speed. You develop your cardio. You develop your combination. Sometimes you work on your headset, your handset with the different rhythm, and work on your game. Work on your snap, 1 punch at a time, 1 move at a time. And sometimes you work on your movement. You work on your sub-G like a machine gun, just and then just blast through it 20 seconds, hit the set, and then just develop, see how fast you can go. So a handset it's a training tool. It has to focus on learning handset. You accomplish 10 sets, it doesn't mean it's better than the person who do 1 set and accomplish all the elements. In fact, the one who knows 1 set accomplish all these elements, it's a more advanced if it's in a real fight than a guy who learns 10 sets, but they don't accomplish any elements. Sub-G is the basic. So you're talking about 6 power, right? The straight, boom, straight. The sucking power. Rising is like high and rise. Sinking, lower your stand, punching low from high to low point, that's a sinking power. Spinning, boom, spinning, boom, spinning, boom, spinning. Those are spinning power. Expanding, it's about your body. A lot of people call Ging. Qi, it's a little bit more mystery. But Ging, it's bow, bang, bang, expand your body. So like when you're punching out, expand your body. That's a way to express your power. So what people don't really understand Kung Fu, they say, what does that do for fighting?
What is that? How do you apply on fighting? Well, Kung Fu is a lot more than just fighting. Kung Fu is cure a lot of mental issues, health issues, internal body issues, and joint issues, and a lot of different things. So it's art. It's like, can you move your body certain ways besides just hit the guy and drop the guy? So the sixth power in the Bak Mei system, the expand, it's part of the art. Can you understand that? Can you express that in the handset? When people do the set and you feel they're explosive, they're like powerful, that's expand. It's like, damn, that set is powerful. Like powerful in terms how hard you hit? No, it's just powerful. When you feel the person move and powerful, and that's something you can't really just, how hard can you hit the heavy back? That's a whole different thing. That's just one thing. You know, what your whole life just train how to hit the heavy back. There's a lot more to that. Coordination. That's, balance. And martial arts are longevity. You know what I mean? You see a lot of boxers getting older, they're all crippled. You see a lot of, even some of the MMA fighters, they hit the 40 years old, it's like a bunch of surgeries and it's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of other combat sports and injury comes along with the price. So Kung Fu, it's also healing. Younger people practice Kung Fu, they train how to kill, how to fight, and then you get to a certain age, it becomes a healing. Becomes like a health and becomes other. So there's a lot of other purpose. That's why I talk about six power, 16 character, six power, a spirit. A spirits are very important, right? So a spirit, the first one is sun. Sun is your energy. Basically, sun is your energy, and you're tired, you look depressed, you look exhausted. That's your sun. It's your presence, right? Yi is your awareness. Your awareness. So certain people, they have a strong awareness, and you talk to somebody like, man, this guy's sharp. That's your awareness. Like people say, what the hell you mean awareness? Well, you walk down the street, take a look, people walk. Some people it's alert. You walk close to them, they look at you, they react, they recognize you. Some people you're passing by, they just head down and just keep walking. That's your awareness. It's a very strong. If you practice martial art, you should have a strong awareness. Number 3 is qi, breathing. Breathing help you to calm yourself, help you to get focused. Breathing correctly help you to last longer, help you to handle life in general. Anxiety, depression, stress, pressure. Learn how to breathe. Simple as people think. Breathing. Do we know how to breathe the day we're born? Yes, but not really. Because a lot of people, when they get a little nervous, first thing they do, they hold their breath. Just like when you're a little kid. Every little kid should have a couple street fights, I think. That's how prepare for your adulthood. I remember when I first a street fight that I ever had, young age. I was arguing with the kid, and I noticing I'm already gassed out before even the fight start because I was holding my breath, tensed up my body. I was like, learn how to breathe, but you don't know that. So when you have a guy's fight, in between each rounds in the MMA fight, as a corner, as a coach, when I go in there, first thing I do is take a slow deep breath, pull your mouthpiece out, lower your heart rate, calm yourself down. Now listen to what I'm telling you. The next round is what you're gonna do to get some, advantage on your opponent. Breathing is very important, but a lot of people don't take time, take an effort to emphasize on that. So that's why breathing is number 3. Number 4, Ging. Ging is your power, is your strength. Now the strength comes with your emotion. Okay, so if you're a parent watching your kids squeeze underneath the car, you might got strength enough to pull the cars up and get your kids out because your emotion it's bonding to your strength. Your strength comes out emotion. But if your mindset is a deadbeat, your body don't generating power. That's it. Let's say you're locked up in a jail cell and you get interrogated by the cop for like 10 hours straight. Your strength is gone because you're mentally drained and exhausted and you become a piece of dead meat. Your strength is gone. So strength, it's important, but strength is bound into your emotion, bound into your mindset, right? So each one of this, your presence, your awareness, your breathing, your strength, one step down, one step lead to another step. You have all these elements. Number 5, yin. Yin is your shape, your posture. Your posture, your shape generating powers. You don't have a power, you're sitting on a chair, your feet is off the ground, you're punching super light. Power comes grounded. If your feet touch the ground, all of a sudden the power comes alive on your punching. That's your shape. Your shape, how to prepare for action. It's very important. So yin, it's basically the movement, the preparation, your shape, Yun, it's a circle. In here, the A spirit is translated to smoothness. You about to sucker punch somebody. You don't let them feel you're gonna sucker punch him. You get your shape, your movement preparation, lined up certain movement that you the only person knows. Your opponent doesn't know. And you're so smooth, your smoothness, your opponent will underestimate you that don't see the sucker punch coming. That's Yun. Yun is learn how to hide your movement, make it smooth, make it undetective. They can't detect your movement. They can't see it coming. That's Yun. That's number 7. Tone in translate is through. It's through. It's very simple. When you have all the element, keep your presence strong, awareness nice, breathe correctly, power is getting ready, load up your shape, stand, posture, get ready, smoothness that they can't see it coming. Tone go through the person. So when you strike, you don't strike on the target, you strike through the target. So when you prepare for that sucker punch, prepare for the dancing movements, then one blow, it will blow him away. And the blow that no one sees coming, you the only person sees coming. That's tone. Last element, jing, calm. Keeping yourself calm and peaceful. So when people calm, you can calmness and make you analyze things better and make you sharper and make you see things clearly. When you angry, you agitated, when you not be able to control your emotion, gets too riled up, you don't analyze right. Sometimes people make a mistake. Things don't need to escalate to that level, but you did because you're mentally, emotionally, just you elevated so much. People road rage turn into murderers just because of that, and then after that they regret for the rest of their life. That's mental jing. Calmness, it's a very important. Out of all the other 7 elements ahead of that, the last one is learn how to be calm, which means easy to say, hard to do. When you get an intimidated target that coming at you aggressively, you need to stay calm, because if you aggravate it, your target is going to be even more aggravated. So you need to learn how to control your calmness, because when one person calmness also it's contagious. When someone's screaming at you, you calm. You also contage him to be calm too. But when you chest up, puff it up, now it's going to escalate to another level. Things going to get out of hand. So calmness is a last spirit, that a spirit, the last one, is the most important. Learn how to control your emotion. Learn how to control your calmness. And then when you calm, you see things better. You can have things lined up, That's it. This is South Sun. This is where you training martial art. This poem right here Sao San. So let's try to explain just this four words, right? Sao San Zai Ga. So it's kind of meditate, fix yourself. Fix, maintain. Sun is your body. Zai is vegetarian, vegetable. You can translate that. Zai is no meat, like a monk. Zai Ga. Ga is like the type of person. So like if you're looking at these four letters right here, Sao San Zai Ga, it's like basically training yourself mentally. Don't get any pollution get into your mind. Don't let any bad thing get into your mind. And it's almost like a vegetarian. It's almost like a people that don't eat meat, like a monks, you know. So Sao San Jai Ga is like learn how to don't let get into your life. So if you're using that terminology to describe people that work in the office, people that is a martial artist, people that is in a chaotic household families and dealing with the nightmare family households, whatever, you need to learn how to shield yourself from bullshit. Because a lot of time you allow bullshit come into your life and distract your life. That's up to you. So if you allow, they'll come in. Daily basis, there's a lot of things bother you in a normal life, whether you're an entrepreneur, businessman, as an employee, work for Starbucks, work for whatever, as a computer, whatever. And if you allow people come into your life, distract you, they're there. You allow people to irritate you, they're there. Sao San Zai guys like learn how to learn how to conduct yourself and then let all these bull they can't come to you. So it's you taking charge yourself and to live the life you want. You allow people irritating you, they can. You allow people to get into your nerves, they can. You allow people to, irritate you because they put something on the social media, they can. It's you allow them come into your life or not. So this is basically like this is a type of poems that I read sometimes, then I remind myself, hey, I'm the one that allow people get on my nerve or not. So it's not them. They do what they do. I'm the one not allow them to come into my life to intrude my life, and I'm good. But if you allow, a lot of people's gonna bother you. Some mother talking shit. This mother post some shit. This, right? It's you allow them to get into your life. So simple. So like another sentence right here. 應以勤儉為本，應以勤儉為本. So 應以 is like you should. 勤儉 is like hard working, consistent. 儉 it's a simplify for your foundation. 為本. So if you're looking at these 6 letters right here, everyone should work hard for yourself and as a foundation. Basically, work hard, train hard, and conduct yourself in a certain way for yourself as a foundation. You can't expect anything from other people. Expect from yourself the most. So you at the end of the day, yourself is yourself. Yourself is the center of yourself. If yourself not conducting yourself in a certain way and expecting other elements around you to compromise yourself, doesn't work like that. So this is basically like the principle of a way of life, a way of a human, a way of, this is the Taoist. This kind of like you hear people call you go to church and listen to the priest, but this is same from a Chinese master, Kung Fu master, write it down from a martial art perspective that people life should be go on certain way, mindset, physical, my own business, So It's pretty cool. Right here, right? Ting Ching Sun Jing. This is a really high end, right? Ting Ching. Each word, if you put this four word together, it don't make sense. But I understand what that means. Ting. It's like a family, and your circle. Ching is a purify. Sun is your body. Yi, it's like a super clean. So tell me how you translate these four words if they put together, right? Family, your circle, your environment, purify, your body, absolutely clean. So you understand these four words, like, okay, I get it, purify yourself. My environment, my element, trying to be purified as possible. Any bullshit people that don't need to be in my life, don't need to be around me, don't need to be in my circle, cut them loose, and to purify your body. And then when you have a healthy, clean, purified environment, your life bring the best out of yourself out, and you live the best quality. No bullshit, nobody irritating you, you don't irritate nobody. So your environment, your circle, it's got to be nice and clean. People negative, stay away. People positive, bring them on. So you're around people positive, successful, healthy mindset, you will become one too. But if you're around people that is mentally toxic, you're gonna become that person. Some people are just very naturally negative. Man, I have a day. Well, not as certain people. As as you get a parking ticket, you get little this, little that, but there's people out there 10 times worse. So living positive, you healthy, you afford to get a lunch, you still got go to sleep, you got a family, you got your daughter around, you still got job, you still got some zeros in your bank account. That's blessing. There are people out there. It's like scrape through the In-N-Out burger, see who's left over. They go in there, they grab what they can. So when you purify your environment, it helps you to understand yourself. You're living better life, and you produce better of yourself. So like I can keep going on and on, but I don't need to get all this. But I'm just saying, like, martial art, it's not just a way of fighting, it's also the way of life, way of living, and then the way of how you contributing to other people in this society. Because people always looking at martial art as like fighting. Martial arts more than fighting. Why people doing ballet dance? Why people doing piano? Why people doing swimming lessons? Why people doing singing? Why people doing whatever they're doing? Why people have a fish tank in their house? Why people have different hobbies? It's a balance of a people's life. Martial art is a certain way to balance certain people that I think in general society, people will benefit a lot by practicing martial art. And then especially kids, get the kids prepare for their adulthood. And every kid it's okay to have a couple fights, because that's how life is. You expecting everything's perfect and clean. It's not going to happen. This world is crazy. Look at the Oakland crime. Is top off the line right now. It's a lot of people moving out of Oakland because it's unstoppable. People literally shoplifting, robberies is going crazy, and you have to prepare for that. And part of prepare for that, not learn how to engage, learn how to avoid, learn how to see it coming. Part of it, when you keep practicing martial art, keeping your A spirit strong, your awareness, alert, your presence, you can spot to happen, prevent it. The highest level of martial arts learning, not learning how to get yourself into trouble and then use the technique, is learn how to spot that shit's about to happen so you can avoid it. That's the best way, you know? So Chan Sing Yu, he is one of my so this is my dad's name, Law Kong, Si Law Kong Hing. So Chan Sing Yu is the person who wrote this book. He is probably one of the best guy that have the most well-educated people, because back in my father's generation, half those guys can't read. including my dad. My dad can barely even write his own name. Chen Sing Yu, it's probably one of those guys that in his time, he actually went to high school. But back in the 40s, 50s, I mean, you go to high school, it's like unheard of it. I mean, don't worry about the college. Back then, it's not, they don't even have college. But like most people, like society, like my mom, my dad, they barely can write their own name. Chan Sing Yu, it's one of those guys that are very good with calligraphy. So he's kind of like one of the senior student that when he training with my dad's teacher, Lao Ba, he's the one usually write down all the documentaries.
Kunpo.
Yeah, Kun Po, and write it down all the important events. He would document anything and then any information.
Historian.
Yes, he's the one like he's the key person for Lao Bak's lineage. He write it down all the. So he's getting older now. I mean, he's in his 80s too. He wrote it down all these years that he learned from my grand teacher Lao Bak, and write it down from all the stuff he hearing from him and everything. He documented everything. So when Lao Bak passed away, Samsuk is the person who wrote everything down. The book organized all the information and everything and passed on to a handful of people. And I'm just lucky to be one of them that have all he's written. He gave it to me as a gift because I learned the Sabat Fengjiang from him. He's the one taught me the Sabat Fengjiang, and he correct me a few things on my fu bowls and a couple other hand forms as well. And then he wrote this book to me. It's a gift. It's here's the information that I collect my entire life. Now this is all on you. Pass on you. And he doesn't pass on this to a lot of people because I don't think he even passed on to his own son because his own son is not teaching martial art anymore. So this is the information that passed on to me. Now I can share with people that train with me. So this is the original untouchable information. And everybody talk about this and that. This is right here, right there. So you have it.
No arguments.
No arguments. There's many different stories, right? I can't really pinpoint exactly what the truth is. From what I heard from my dad, he actually recruited my dad to being his student. My dad was training dragon style kung fu, and my dad was pretty well known as a fighter, street fighter. And Lao Siulang doesn't have any student that can fight. Then he recruited my dad one day in the school. In back home, people don't have like a school like here. You rent a little storefront. You're pretty much like a territorial, a park. And this is the park for this group of style. This park for the praying mantis people. This park is for the Choi Lei Fut. And then my dad has a really large following. And he hang around with a lot of fighters. And then Lao Siulang just happened to meet my dad one day. And then he asked my dad, why don't you come here and learn something about me? And my dad, what's that? And then that's what my dad told me. He's like, what is that? And then he's like, it's good for you. For a big guy like you, learn how to move fast. It's going to be beneficial for you. It's going to make you even better fighter. And my dad's like, all right, And then shortly after, obviously, almost like every martial art instructor out there, when you have a good, tough fighters in your class, in your school, it's a blessing because that's a shield. That's a representative. And Lao Siulang's very happy to have my dad as buy down under his lineage and to represent him. And ever since, my dad become one of his favorite students. And he invited my dad, went to his house, not in the school, into his house to train with him. And then he become a indoor student from Lao Siulang. And then after my dad went to Lao Siulang, my dad's good friends with Samsuk Chan Sing Yu. My dad brought him in, and alongside brought a bunch of other students that my dad already have as a buddy and then the fighter in the group. all join into Lao Siu, and that's how his army instantly overnight gets so big and strong. And then obviously he has a few sons, but my dad, when he learned, his son was just his son's about 20 years younger than my dad. And then my dad told me when Lao Siu passed away, I think my dad's probably I can't pinpoint a year, but he's kind of like on his maybe late 30 or maybe early 40, maybe. And his Lao Bak's son is probably like in a teenager.
How many years did your dad study with us?
Probably 20 some. Yeah. You figure my dad, it was, can't really pinpoint. I believe like maybe 60 something, 60 in the 60s. I trained with Lao Siu Leung, and my dad was born 40.
38.
So 38. So my dad's probably trained with him either the late 50s or early 60s, around that time. So he's in his 20s. So his son, Lao Siu Leung's son's probably a few years old back then. So and everyone looking up to him because my dad is a pretty well-known fighter in town, in the city. And when he on board with Lao Siu Leung, all his members pretty much following him, and then that's overnight and pretty much brought Lao Siu Leung's name from, kind of like how Bruce Lee does for Yip Man. And just instantly you brought the lineage just over the roof because, every martial art instructor, you don't like involve gangster, but actually a lot of fighters come from gangsters. And then my dad is kind of like in that borderline with one foot is on this side of the world, another foot is on this side of the world. And then his empire get really big and strong. And honestly, like, what do we know about Lao Siu Leung? I don't really know much about him, because when I born, he's already passed. I think, yeah, he's already passed. Either he passed. I'm a few years of young age. Like I never met the person. So, and I heard a lot of story about him. And when he passed away, and my dad was the one carry his coffin. So there's a 3 or 4 students carry his coffin for his funeral, and my dad was one of them. That's all we know. And he's look out for his son. Obviously, his couple younger son growing up, and my dad's pretty much looking out for them, protecting them until they become their own entity. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know much about him, and someday, and the only person alive now beside his son, I don't really don't have a whole lot of communication with them. But the older student, that one left, it's Chan Sen Yu, is the only person. Sam Sok is the person still alive that can actually tell story about Lao Siu Leung, Lao Bak.
So anything that you would say is just stories, like you can't confirm. So that's why you just don't touch it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because so he's in the army. He did other styles before this, that, but it's all stories.
Yeah. So something that I can't really confirm, and I never seen it myself. So, and I don't want to pass on another story that I can confirm.
Yeah, just talk, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sifu. I really appreciate it. Thank you.